In the introductory to Excel, you learned some tips and tricks, or what I call magic. You will get a chance to use those today as we start Chapter 1 of Excel. The learning project that we will be doing is called Creating a Worksheet and a Chart. You're going to open a blank Excel spreadsheet, and there's a couple of ways that you can do that. One is you can click on the File tab at the top and go down to where it says New, and click on that, and then come over, and we just want a blank workbook. So if we double click that, there it is. Another way to do that is on your mini toolbar, quick access toolbar I should say. At the top you can click on what looks like a little sheet of paper. If that icon is not there for you, then let's add it. All you need to do is to customize this quick access toolbar is to click here, and then make sure you have a check mark in front of the word new, and that's probably the easiest way to do that. So you can just click new. And as always, the first thing we have to do is we have to save this. So click on Save or File tab and go down to where it says Save As. In the pop-up box on the left-hand side, go over under Computer and click on your name, and then click on the file that is called Computer 1. And we're going to name the file, let's name it Worksheet and a Chart. So type that in. And then click Save. Now we have a blank Excel spreadsheet open, and you have it saved to your account. Open your textbook to page 1, and let's go over our objectives for this chapter. We are creating a worksheet and a chart for Excel Chapter 1. At the end of this chapter, you should be able to say that you can describe the Excel worksheet, you can enter text and numbers, use the sum button to sum a range of cells, enter a simple function, copy the contents of a cell to a range of cells using the fill handle, apply cell styles, format cells in a worksheet, create a 3D pie chart, change a worksheet name and worksheet tab color, change the document properties, preview and print a worksheet, use the auto calculate area to display statistics, and you should also be able to correct errors on a worksheet. So let's go back to our Excel spreadsheet that we started. Now turn to page 2. Chapter 1, creating a worksheet and a chart. Read along the introduction as I read it aloud. Almost any organization collects vast amounts of data. Often, data is consolidated into a summary so that people in the organization better understand the meaning of that data. An Excel worksheet allows the data to be summarized and charted easily. A chart conveys a visual representation of data. In this chapter, you will create a worksheet that includes a chart. The data in this worksheet and chart includes data for a personal budget worksheet that contains monthly estimates on budget amounts. Since we're familiar with the layout of this book, we can go ahead, because of Word, Microsoft Word, we can go ahead and we're on page 2, but go ahead and turn to page 7. To enter the worksheet titles, be sure that you can see the formula bar at the top. Again, you would just click on the View tab at the top, and then in the Show box, then just make sure that the formula bar is check marked because you want to be able to see that. Okay, so let's click on cell A1, and number 2 on page 7 says type Personal Budget Worksheet. Okay, now turn to page 8, and you need to click the Enter box, not the Enter key on your keyboard, the Enter box here. And now click on cell A2 and type monthly estimates. And this is on page 8, number 4. And again, click the check mark, and that is your enter. Doing that has allowed us to create a worksheet title and the worksheet subtitle. Okay, now turn to page 9. Page 9, number 1 says to click cell A3 and type income. And now turn to page 10. Of course, you're more than welcome to pause this recording at any time if you need to rewind it or fast forward through it. That is why I'm making these recordings, so that you can learn at your own pace. Okay, now turn to page 10, and on page 10 we're doing number 2. Number 2 says press the right arrow key, and now go to number 3. Number 3 says repeat steps 1 and 2 to enter the remaining column titles. That is, enter January in cell B3. And I like for my months of the year to be capitalized. Then on page 10, number 3, it says enter February in cell A3, March in D3, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December in cell M3. And so we know that we don't have to type all of that because Excel is magical. We're just going to drag that handle and pull it to the right until we get to December. And that is our range of B3 to M3, and it fills it in for us. Number 3 continues, however, and in cell N3, it asks us to type the word total. The next thing it says to do is to click cell A8. In cell A8, it asks us to type expenses. And then in cell B8, again, we need our months of the year from January to December. So we're just going to grab that fill handle and go across our row until we find December and release our mouse, and voila. It asks us to place in cell N8 the word total, and you can also click the enter function. Let's continue on page 11 to enter row titles. Number 1 says click cell A4, type wages, press the down arrow key. Number 2 on page 11 says repeat step 1 to enter the remaining row titles in column A. Now, we can't use the magic of Excel for this because Excel's not really sure what it is we want. So I'm going to pause my recording, and you can pause your recording to enter the rest of the data. And we'll take over as soon as we're done with that. I've typed the rest of the information that our textbook has required. And down here, I just want to make sure everybody's on the same page. We have total in page A17, and then we skipped cell A18 and we put net in cell A19. And turn the page to page 12, and at the top, read along with me as I read aloud. It says, it talks about entering numbers. In Excel, you can enter numbers into cells to represent amounts. A number can contain only the following characters: 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, plus, minus, open and close parentheses, comma, forward slash, period, dollar sign, percent, capital E, and lowercase e. If a cell entry contains any other keyboard character, including spaces, Excel interprets the entry as text and treats it accordingly. The use of special characters is explained when they are used in this book. So let's enter numbers. Number 1 at the bottom of page 12 says, click cell B4, type 1000.29 and press the right arrow key. Now turn to page 13. Number 2 says, enter 1000.29 in cells C4, D4 on over to M4. So basically all the way over to December. So instead of typing that over and over and over, we know the magic of Excel. We can just grab that handle and fill those cells all the way over. So why are these numbers right aligned? When you enter numeric data in a cell, Excel recognizes the values as numbers and right aligns them in order to properly vertically align decimal and integer values. So we're still on page 13. Number 3 says to click cell B5, and it says enter the remaining personal budget numbers. Now these are on page 12 in table 1.1 called personal budget worksheet. Make sure that when you are entering this data that if it says 0, meaning $0, that you do indicate that, and that is important because 0 is a number. And Excel, we're going to enter some functions in Excel, and it needs to be able to count that number, even though technically it's nothing. Excel still needs to know that it's nothing. So I'm going to pause the recording, and you can too, and I'll let you enter that data. As I finish entering the data for my chart, I'm just going to type in $100 for my miscellaneous in cell B16. Pull that over and stop at December. Now it's very important that all of this information is accurate to the penny, because when we ask Excel to add these up for us, or in future lessons we're going to be dividing and we're going to ask for percentages, etc., then Excel needs to know that the correct information, or it's just going to give you wrong data. Once you are sure that every dollar amount is to the penny, go ahead and click save. The next thing we're going to do is going to be in our next recording, and that would start on page 14 where we actually calculate a sum. So that is that for this first part of Excel Chapter 1, and I will see you with Part 2 of Chapter 1.